you very much for your attendance, and I call for apologies. Yes, we've got a fair few.
Councillor Regan, Councillor Dixon, Councillor F, Councillor D.
I should say, who is he?
Yeah, that's right. And
Okay, so would somebody like to move that we accept those apologies?
No.
Yes, Galvin, seconded. Councillor Matthews, put the motion as in favor.
Aye.
Okay. So, now explanation, we've only just got we've got a quorum, but both Councillor Smith and Colton are down with COVID. After the Warrior show, I'd say. Okay, so confirmation of the minutes from the previous meetings, would somebody like to move that recommendation? Councillor Galvin's getting in quick, Councillor Moore seconded. Put the motion as in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Carried. No. There's no matter a minute. Now we go straight on to officers' report.
no declarations.
Oh, hang on, we've got to, we've got to do that too, but we also have to accept late items on the agenda, don't we? Just I don't have the declarations on running too much, but is there, I will call for declaration of interest if there are any. Not at this stage, so that we have the 3 late items.
We've got the April rates and quarterly budget review, which is the reports were like they were sort of holding reports, but now the substance of the substantive reports have been issued. The operational plan is a new report, and also there's a new report in the confidential regarding the supply and delivery of road-based material.
So could I somebody move that we accept those onto the agenda? Councillor Galvin got it again. Second, please. Councillor Matthews, those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Right, officers' reports, organisation, community services. What do you do about that thing? Oh, you just go through it, I suppose.
If you've got any questions, I can take them.
Yeah.
I have got we did get an update from Shire, and I just sent it to everyone. So Nauru is in COVID lockdown. They've got 8 residents that are positive. And unfortunately, there's 6 staff members still in isolation and another 2 pending results. So it may be a case that Sharon does implement 12-hour shifts up there just to be able to provide care, and she'll be due a big holiday.
I offered it my services via email last night, but I'd be very little I could do, but.
I did too. I said I can cook. I'll come into the kitchen and cook for you if you want other people to do the caring bit.
I can't even cook. But anyway, yeah, it's pretty ordinary for her.
Yeah.
She did say at the end of that email, she's going to take a long holiday.
That's it. I think she'll have earned it by the time they get through.
So in this report, and it's nothing really to do with the report, I suppose, but just out of interest, there's, I'm talking about cost shifting here. Does Centrelink cost us? Now, did they reduce the hours?
So Centrelink's only open for 2 hours.
All right. So what are these services that they do cost us? Does the RMS cost us?
It's a fee for service type setup. We get a retainer and then we get a percentage of transaction based.
Yeah.
It doesn't cost us as much as it used to because we now use customer service staff in Warrior.
Oh, that's right, yes.
In Binga, it's a bit different, but that person's multi-trained anyway, so they're doing finance stuff when they're not doing RMS.
And when we get back into the one building, it will work better.
Is there any other services that we're subsidising?
Well, we do subsidise both. RMS is a tricky one because even though we've opened more, they don't pay us anymore. The base amount is still the same. I don't think we've got any others. It's really only Centrelink and Service New South Wales that are external trained things that we also provide.
Okay. All right. Is there any questions on the report?
Hopefully Susie will soon have the report regarding the daycare stuff for Tharrawonga after the community meetings. I'll ask her about that after this meeting to try and.
That's a definite starter though.
Well, she thinks that, yes.
Yeah.
It's our best hope anyway, because we can do it much easier.
Yeah, a lot of questions about daycare almost everywhere we've been. And we don't have a satisfactory answer, of course. All right, does anyone have anything from that? If not, could I have somebody move the recommendation? Councillor Mulligan and Councillor Galvin. Those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Executive services. I was just saying to the general manager before the meeting that there's a few blocks opening up in Bingor, isn't there, if this goes through, which is a good thing.
So that, those subdivisions that are there, so they're all new blocks, obviously out the Elcombe Road.
Yeah.
Is that right? Yeah. How many acres will they be? Roughly, or you don't know?
Probably similar size, probably about 10 hectares, I think, or five hectares, or between 5 and 10. This is the
King.
inside. I'm not really sure.
That'd be
Absolutely.
good, wouldn't it?
Yes, I think there's a market there.
Yeah. And I've been for a drive up in all the new developments a few times, and there's lots of action happening there too.
Yeah. No, it's good to see, well, there's a little bit of money coming in for DAs, and that's always very welcome.
Down further, the one, Max, the two in Ridley Street that have got the dual occupancy with the granny flat.
Yeah.
What are they? Where? It's like, so that's
162023.
Where is it? I can't find
Bottom of page
Bottom.
32.
Oh, there it is.
yeah, bottom of
Page
page
32.
32. What are they? Are they just?
I'd have to check exactly what they are.
Yeah, like it's just interesting that there's side by side and they're like both got granny flats. I just wondered.
There's a duplex type thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's
You
the
know,
regional housing price?
You know, exactly that.
Yeah.
I think that those properties are owned by Lorraine. I can't remember her last name. Involved with the university over at Lismore, Southern Cross University. She bought 2 of those blocks from the council.
Yep.
And I think the aim is for student accommodation. They're the ones that we were talking about, aren't they? Those from the guy.
Yeah, so it's, they're sharing it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's, so she's maximising the number of dwellings on the property.
Yeah.
You know, when you're going up the hill towards the cemetery,
Yep.
on the left-hand side, it's 2 of those blocks.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, they're on Ridley Street.
22 Ridley Street.
Yeah.
What is that, Riddell?
That's Riddell you're thinking of. These are in Ridley Street.
But this is the ones with Bramwell.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I thought they were the ones that were owned by that woman.
No.
No, I just was interested what it.
And then right at the end of that, all of that, there's that one from Field Solutions with the telecommunication tower at North Star. And we were informed yesterday that it should come online by the middle of June. You're very welcome out there. 50-metre tower, I don't know how far to go.
It's pretty level out there.
To go, there's another going to be a booster going into Cropper Creek, I think, so it mustn't travel that far. But
Line of sight.
yeah, is it? Yeah. But although the railway's put on hold, that's going to be completed.
We got one on Mount Mitchell.
Yep.
That's where the one is now. But
What service?
wouldn't the railways go through that? That's not going more than 15 kilometres either side of the railway.
Oh, well, whatever they can travel, at least we got them so they're not linear. That's what they're going to be. Now they're going out. But yeah, it's not a great coverage, I know.
No.
It's better than what we had. Like
Yeah.
North Star's pretty ordinary.
Yeah.
What's your mobile reception like out there?
Pretty poor, and I can see Mount Mitchell.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And then there's another one proposed down here at Milguy there.
Is it? That's to do with the railway.
Yeah,
Yeah.
railway. They just-
See, when that goes to 5G, it'll be worse.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Anyway,
Good to see.
I was pleased to see that it was still going ahead because we saw when we were out there that they'd started to construct the tower. And I thought, gee, surely not going to stop that, but they're not. Now, any questions on this report? There's one I can't remember.
Talking about planning, when I went up to the living classroom last week, the cabins there are taking shape.
Yes, they are.
They're not powered up, are they?
No, they're not powered yet. And also there's some minor roadworks leading into the
Yeah.
carports.
I've had
They are.
a look at them. They're a good little complex, didn't they?
Oh, awesome. Great.
Yes.
Very good.
Did I read something about that though, on something to do with the land or something there?
Yeah, there's a report going later on.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Nothing to do with the cabins, but.
Yeah.
Oh, what? Well, I'll get to it later, I guess. Anything else? I don't have anything. No, somebody like to move the recommendation then? Councillor Galvin.
Yeah.
Seconded by
A clean sweep.
Councillor Matthews, after a bit of prompting.
You know, each Christmas, we should have an award for the councillor that moves the most money.
We probably should have one for that.
Just the epilepsy.
Now you're.
Don't-
All right, I've got a move in a second. I'll put the motion those in favour. Okay. Council's activity report was to be noted. But anyway, it's been a busy month, hasn't it? Or last month was April.
Have you skipped the tech
Yeah,
services?
Tech services report.
Well, I'm happy for you.
Quite fine.
I'm quite happy for you to skip it if you.
Oh,
This one,
I'm sorry, I was going through that in the last report. Yeah,
8.3 tech service.
tech services. Council report's fine. You're not that insignificant. Alex, at all?
Okay. Well, thank you, Mr. Mayor.
8.3, over to you.
Happy to take any questions on the report. It's been a fairly standard month. The contractors on the County Boundary Road who were, I think their original work schedule was to go until December or January, aiming to be out of there by August at the latest now. Every causeway site there is either complete or partially constructed. Everybody that went to the Upper Horton community meeting would have seen that we're a stone's throw from Upper Horton completing that ceiling project.
And I will notice a far quicker way home.
And it's a quicker way home.
Okay, he's got an important phone call us to take. So we'll go through this, any questions, and if you have got one, Alex can answer them. I think,
I'd just like to say, when we went on that bus trip, I actually thought that was very worthwhile, because until you hear people say, oh, how come it's taking X amount of time? That road's not done. They've been working on that for ages. But until, it was really good because you actually saw the process, and like that rock crusher, how,
that's low it is there.
yeah, do you know what I mean? So it brings everything into perspective. So I thought that was very worthwhile doing that, and you got to see how long it does take. I was just saying, Alex, I thought that road trip we did, the bus trip we did, was very worthwhile, because you have people in the community saying, oh, it's taking X amount of time to do that road, and et cetera, et cetera. But when you go and you actually see the process and that rock crusher and everything, it brings everything into perspective. So
Absolutely does.
it does. So
So would
it's,
you like to have another one on the southern end of the?
Yes.
yeah.
Because I know Lyndon would, and we went to Upper Horton the other night in the dark, unfortunately, but the compliments to Lyndon, he's been to every meeting, every community meeting, which is a big effort. And you know, he hit a pig and got home at 11 o'clock. You didn't hit anything, got home at 10:30, didn't you?
Well, I did hit something. But
Did you? Yeah. Where was that?
Outside Cropper Creek.
Oh, really?
Oh,
Yeah, 11 o'clock.
Yeah.
Helen and I left early to go to Horton so we could actually look at the road, and that was really good.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Uh,
But yeah,
that-
tour in the south would be good.
that job, in as far as I'm aware, if you adjust previous jobs for inflation, it's the cheapest road we have sealed. Comes in at about 250,000 a kilometre. Just done an absolutely fantastic job there. But to go to add weight to the talk about doing a tour in the southern end of the Shire, part of the reason it's so cheap is because it's a lot easier to build roads down there because the subgrades are so much better.
Yeah.
And I think that if we were to do a tour in the southern end, it would give councillors some good perspective of the differences, and also it's not unusual to have a person in the southern end of the Shire with a complaint about a road, which might not be in perfect condition. That if put in the context of the whole Shire, and particularly some of the northern ends of the roads in the northern end of the Shire, is not really significant.
So you need to take all the southern ratepayers and show them.
We do.
But I know this is, well, should not be related at all, but the harder or the worst subbase to build on is where the backwards rates come from.
Yes.
They're the best farming lands.
It's the best farming, so it's like they say, where the better the crop, the more the rates, the harder it is to build a road, or the more costly it is to build. Yeah.
And I think it was encouraging too, with Upper Horton though, is that, caravans starting to come through there.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think that's the woman was going to build a shop or something. I think that was really encouraging for Upper Horton.
And especially the fact that when we asked the question, are you getting a lot more traffic? They said yes, but not in a negative way.
Yeah.
That's right.
One lady's going to open a coffee shop now. Yeah.
We've just got to let the highway patrol know when it's finished so they can go through. That was the fear.
Yes.
Yeah.
They might lose
So
their
that's a
favourite
bit of a
bidder.
positive, isn't it?
Oh, that was a good positive meeting.
Yeah.
I remember years ago, even before you'd done the road up, the trucks that used to come over that mountain would go to Benjaree to cart containers. Used to come over the mountain from Narrabri, yeah.
Oh, right.
Yeah. I used to pass them all the time. Those Georgian trucks.
Oh, yeah.
The footpaths are looking good, Alex, and it looks like it's nearly completed down near on the river there.
Yes.
If we get another grant, a few people have said, can we continue it so that it goes up to the golf course? So it's a walk like to the gym and the golf links and back. So if we get another grant, can we look at that? Or is that?
Yes. So if the next local road community infrastructure grant is not tied to roads, and I'm hopeful that it won't be, although Helen.
Helen is hopeful it's not too.
That's right.
I'm pretty sure it is.
Yeah. I mean, that would have been a prime
Yeah,
grant
to
for that.
continue it up to the tennis courts and that's a good walk. A few people have said that, like you can go for a walk to the gym and
Yeah,
then
certainly.
back along there.
We'll keep looking.
Yeah.
As far as the rest of the report goes, nothing particularly exciting. I'm excited about the rollers that we have behind our graders. We've had one in operation for about a 3-week period now, and we're getting basically new roads. Because we've got 2 graders on site, one without a roller, one with a roller. The grader without the roller is able to pick up material that's been graded off the road, bring it back on, while the other grader works the road. We've got a water cart, and because they're ripping and rolling the road and watering it, what they're doing is lasting. We are going to get across our network in a longer space of time. It, by right, should take us twice as long to get around the entire network, but we're quite confident that the repairs are going to last more than twice as long. So it'll be a win in the end.
Yeah, that's a good thing. I think that's problem in the past getting water.
Yes.
But that won't be a problem for a while.
The shelter under the bridge that moved, considering the damage to the riverbank and
You were sort of hanging over the edge, wasn't it?
that shelter and concrete slab stayed very intact very well.
Yeah.
So you got the slabs attached to it.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's not in the report, but I took a phone call
Oh,
yesterday for the information in the room from a gentleman for Transport for New South Wales who is part of the design team looking at upgrading the bridges in Bingrove. And he insisted that they will not be replacing the bridges for the foreseeable future. He said it's 130 years old. I'd like to see another 130 years out of it.
And we probably won't be on council now.
I don't think so. I'll probably be retired at least. However, they are in the next 2-year period planning on lifting the entire bridge off its bearings and replacing all the bearing material, doing some structural upgrades to the bridge.
Where do you cross the river in the meantime? Coming to that.
Coming to that.
Stop the water
So
from
the purpose of
coming.
the call was twofold. He wanted to know if we had any water infrastructure over the bridge, which we do.
Yes.
And the second was to
Yes.
see what council's position would be on closing the bridge for the works. And that's off the table after the phone call yesterday, but they're getting a fair bit ahead of ourselves here, but they will be doing works of an evening during the school holidays, and they're talking about temporary closures. We're at least 18 months away from it happening. Emergency services.
Yeah, how can
access
ambulance
would-
get on? That's,
that would be retained. So they work their way around.
they could still cross it per day.
Yeah, I mean, the fact of it is, it's a very old bridge, and at some point it's going to need some serious maintenance. From a trucking perspective, they said it would be almost certain to have HML access over the top of it. So
Wouldn't it be time to build another bridge alongside it?
I
I
tried that one,
Yeah.
but no, they're not interested. And the cost of replacing that bridge would probably be nudging $100 million. It's big, it's high, it's long.
Yeah, but if it was in Sydney, it would be.
Priority.
Yeah.
yesterday.
Yeah.
They do it in 4 spans.
Anyway, yeah, fair enough.
That'd be
But
nice. I wouldn't be able to come to town. Oh, you too. We could have lots of them.
Actually, just so you're on your road list here, flood damage road work for that. The Allendale Road, or does that come under the Agincourt Road?
That's
Is it
completed.
the University Road, or have you completed it?
I found Agincourt.
That's all complete.
I can't see University Road or Allendale there, Councillor Moore. We've done works on both those roads, but I don't
Probably not
think
on there.
there was a large amount of flood damage on there. So those roads are ones that are roads that were assessed and claimed that we've been reimbursed from the state government for.
Alex, what's happening with the riverbank? Like, the upgrade, where the pontoon and all that sort of thing.
I can't give you, I'd have to take and I'll give you an answer on the pontoon. I'll take that one on notice.
The soil conservation people are doing a draft
Oh, yeah.
plan of management.
So have you worked out how to get the tree out yet?
No.
I told you.
I know.
And I've had a look at it, it'll work.
Yes, it would.
Yeah.
Would have to do it through the cover of darkness, perhaps.
Wait till the bridge is shut.
No, it'll be quite safe.
No, I haven't got an approval from Fisheries to pull that
I
out,
can loan you one
a
favour.
formal one at least. And the slip at the golf course below the 7th green, is it, Max? That's with GHD engineers in Tamworth. They're currently working away at the solution to that.
So they're going to actually replace the slip,
Attractive.
are they?
We don't know
No,
Exactly
just
what the,
continue on from where it is, just going.
solution's going to
straight
be,
up
but
past the school.
I'm envisaging it's just going to be rock bags, basically, from the toe of the slip up to the.
So it doesn't go further.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other question? If not, I'm going to move to the recommendation and I'm looking down.
I'm gonna
Councillor
go.
Mulligan. Second.
What's the price, Max?
Emotions, I don't imagine it would be a very nice looking trophy.
Councillor Garland bought a lot of balls this morning.
I'll get a finger up in the air or something.
So I've got to move in a second now. Max, put the motion those in favour, say aye.
Aye.
Against no carried. We had a bit of a look at the council activity report, but somebody moved that it be.
Oh,
Series, is it? Yeah. Councillor Moore, thank you. Seconder. Councillor Garland, those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Against no carried. Rates collection and investments, we've got a presentation at, is it 11 o'clock?
11 o'clock.
Yeah. So I'm trying to get this finished, I'm not we should. Rates collection and investment, Helen, would you like to comment?
I can take any questions if anyone's got any. We are continuing to invest on a 30-day basis so we can pick up the increase in interest rates every month. They are slowly creeping up, not quite as fast as the bank's putting them up the loans, but they are going up. We got emails only yesterday to take the next step for the borrowings that we've got in plan for the sewerage, for the roadwork and the roadwork cash flow issue we will have. So hopefully that'll be in, it needs to be in before 30th of June, which will fix some issues. Rates collection is about where it normally is, so
It's incredible how it tracks, just incredible.
that graph just doesn't move.
Nah, it doesn't, does it?
No.
Any questions at all?
Just one going. I just saw an email there from Sheridan Hopkins from TCOR. And they're mentioning some rates there. Are they applicable to what we're doing?
No.
They're not too high.
Well, you can, we can no longer invest in TCOR how we used to invest. They made us pull out of that.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure why they said it wasn't being utilised by councils, but we had pretty much all our money in it, so, and it made us good money.
Yeah.
But no, unfortunately not.
TCOP have never been very friendly to us.
No.
I don't know if they're listening.
They do say that they changed their rules, but
Yeah.
Any other questions? If not, can I have a mover of the recommendation? Councillor Mulligan got his figured out first. Councillor Galvin seconded. Put the motion, those in favour say aye.
To me, you can put your hand up, so that's why I'm doing it.
8.6 quarterly budget review. Yeah, sure, hello.
alright. You've got the page where all the budget figures are on, but the variation page is probably,
Yeah.
so rates and annual charges. There was an increase for the non-domestic waste. With the income that's come in, that budget did get adjusted. User fees and charges, we did have RMS income come in, so
Yeah.
that increased. The operating grants was due to the Stronger Country Community Funds. The capital grants included Section 94 contributions. The change in employee costs was just balancing out with the amount of staff we've got and the amount of overtime that's being done to make sure there's adequate budget by the end of the year. The biggest change in materials and contracts was short-term plant hire adjustment that went in there. We're obviously hiring a huge amount of plant at the moment to get through all the work.
Big one. Single water cart hire is about $250,000 a year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're right, you're good, see.
I am at present. Hired short-term hired plan is going to be pretty significant cost for the next 2 years.
And it comes out of the individual trade fund.
That's right. That's almost entirely grant funded, but it's still a big expenditure.
There's not much you can do about it because we have to have it.
We have to get it, well, we don't want to give the money back, so we have to
Exactly.
look and spend it.
And there will be, I know for a fact the auditors will pick up on it simply because it's a change in our internal plant hire that gets our
Oh,
plant hire charges as opposed to
yeah.
being within materials and contracts, but it's the same thing. It's just on a different line. So there will be a variance in that.
Right.
Other than that, I don't think there were too many other major changes. Within the capital projects, that adjustment in there was the Coop did have the sewer project mostly in this financial year, so a big chunk of that has been taken out to go into next year's budget.
Well, that was one of the questions I had, that actual was double the budgeted amount.
Yeah, so it's been taken out.
Okay.
Um,
And the other question I had was the untied money was a lot of money.
$300,000.
No, I must have got it wrong. Where did I see it? I saw a lot of money and I was thinking that could some of that then go into the new building. It's only 300,000.
The money we're borrowing for roadworks, some of that will, once the roadworks are completed, that money will be freed up and that will help pay for the building. So we
Still be
won't,
borrowed money.
yes.
Yeah.
But we won't have additional loans. It'll be the same loan that
Yeah.
we pay back over the next 20 years, that
Yeah, sure.
when our cash flow problem does stop and most of the roads projects are completed.
I have one other question, probably not related to any of this, but it's finance. I asked this before, and I can't remember whether it's completely answered, but all our section 94s on quarries indexed.
Not all of them are. Any quarry approval that's happened in the last 18 months is indexed. And more recently, they are, instead of indexed against CPI, they are indexed against the roads and construction index.
Yeah. And what about the, whatever it was, $1.19 or something that you achieved for the inland rail? Is that also indexed now that the inland rail's been put back 4 or 5 years?
It's not.
Well, can we do anything about it?
I will take up that charge because that's really valid.
No. Okay.
The only other one is the contracts. There is a big long list there of contracts we have entered into. To see it's a huge amount of money that will be spent over the next.
Well, James had a huge difference too.
Yes, most of it is, yeah.
Yeah.
It all is emergency accommodation, county boundary, Baroma, MR63, the sewer line, and your pothole repair.
It has to come out of that bucket of money that's paying for that job, of course. That's
Yes.
how it works. Yeah, and
It'll just be the cash flow to take note of that.
I know there's a lag. And the RMCC money will be way down, right? Because we can't do it.
We're actually attempting to do it.
So you've given some to Tamworth, I see.
There was one major reconstruction,
Yeah.
but no, the reconstructions for next financial year, we may be biting off in tandem with some contractors, some subcontractors to council. But it's worth our while to attempt it.
Okay. So if you're subcontractor, is there an element in there for us still? Does the subcontractor get it all or not?
Unofficially, yes.
Yeah. Okay. Is there any questions of Helen, I should say? Somebody made the adjustments are noted?
This is,
That's right.
yeah, fine.
Thank you.
The next
Councillor
one's adjustments as well.
Councillor Mulligan, Councillor Moore. That's it. We go on to
That's the,
Operational plan.
the operational.
that's going to be put on exhibition.
Yeah.
What this report does basically is simply identify some of the, when the operational plan was drafted by the graphics designer person, there were some errors that were found. So this advises you of what those errors are. So
This
you
is
know that we're
The
replacing.
next item you're referring to. Yeah. There's no need to go through it. We've been through it several times. So what's the recommendation there to be noted?
Yeah, just the adjustments in that.
Adjustment. Oh, okay. Well, the same as the last figure.
It'll be continued to be refined over the next 28 days, even while it's on display too.
Does anybody have any questions on that? Do you understand what all that Max just said about? It's the budget for approval. So I have asked that recommendation be adopted. Would someone like to move that adoption of that?
Who do you call it?
Councillor Galvin got it.
Councillor Matthews?
Matthews is second to that.
We're now bordering on lack of a quorum.
Yeah.
There's a sort of repetitiveness about, isn't it?
I'll put that motion. Those in favour say aye.
Aye.
It's no, okay, thank you. Keep going, I guess.
So you do council reports.
Oh, yes, we can. Council reports, all right. They're going to be very small this time. Well, seeing Councillor Governor's first off the mark, I'll give her the first report.
I don't have anything. Went to a library meeting on Monday for Catherine.
Well, they had that. I thought it was abandoned.
It's a bit of mix up with times and all the rest of it, but yeah, it was well attended and Gail organised lots of tours around Bingara, and the people that came were happy and went and saw lots of things and had dinner that night.
Good.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
You don't think?
We
I
also,
went to, yesterday I went to the Roxy and helped with, because the country education funding, got the funding from the musical that was on yesterday. It was a school performance.
okay.
It was packed.
It was, yeah. It was a school performance and we gave Robin Phillips got a certificate
Oh, yeah.
for volunteer of
Yes.
the year,
Oh,
which was very well deserved. So we presented that to her yesterday.
Good.
So that's about it.
thank you. Councillor Mulligan?
Look, only just for noting is, just the crossing of the railway line at Copper Creek, there was the power poles need increasing in height.
Yeah.
Air seeder nearly collected them there, so
Yeah.
just good to note that. I think there's
So-
an action being taken, but
That's the inland rail.
yeah.
Thank you. Councillor Matthews?
Only one thing. I've been requested to pass, or I've asked to pass on a request that the kind of, what do we call it? Parade of stones at the park in Bingara be not poisoned around.
With respect.
Yeah. Gary McDougall has volunteered to whippersnip around them.
I have to say, that wouldn't have come from me because I poisoned everything.
Yeah, so do I. But, you know, he thinks they look prettier if
All
they're.
right, well, if he's going to do it, then
And he'll do it
well, that's good.
if we can pass the message on not to poison them.
Which stone?
Well, we won't give them the chemicals.
Which stone?
Is that it from
The
you?
big sandstone,
That's all.
That's all, thank you.
Talking about the sandstone,
the sandstone blocks down there.
No,
no, he's talking about the
blocks of stone. You know, there's a sequence of geological
Oh,
things
yes.
along there, you know,
Yes.
those ones.
Okay.
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 Councillor Moore?
Romantic strong, along the river don't happen very well.
To Alex, the northern end of the bypass is breaking up pretty bad. Pretty bad dips.
No, we actually took the bitumen off that.
Yeah, no, on the corner, not where you put the pipe through and all that type of thing, but up further, it's dropping away on the edges quite significantly.
You're talking on the,
On the
so not
north.
on the intersection,
No,
but
well, that needs tidying up too, but go up the road, heading east.
So it takes the bend.
yeah, that's,
Before you get to the bend,
that's going to be asphalt patched. Don't like to blame somebody that's not in the room. That's a section that was constructed out of sandstone under the direction of
Previous engineer.
former employee. We'll patch that with asphalt and reseal. That's still to get its final construction seal. Quietly confident that we won't have any issues with that section. There are only a few short sections of sandstone on that job now.
Yeah.
There's that first stretch from the intersection up to about 200 metres on the western side of the corner. And then there's sandstone from the Gwydir highway down just past the truck wash. Anywhere that we use the mixture of granite and then a basalt, a crushed basalt on top of it, hasn't been a blemish on it.
I just thought where we cleared the block up there, that when you come down right on the western northern corner, the water's still laying there, seeping out of the ground there. I thought that might have been going under the road and coming up on the other side.
Yeah, it's certainly the height of the water table there has been a real surprise, and the fact that it hasn't gone down has also been quite surprising. The work that we did down on the intersection was to place subsurface drains in. So we didn't want to tear up the entire road and lay subsurface all the way up the hill, but there was the culvert underneath the road at the intersection that's now got either side of it subsurface rock drains. So that's intended to help with that groundwater issue. If that is part of the problem further up the hill, at least it's going to give it somewhere to go that isn't straight through the road.
I think for the benefit of the minutes, Alex, you probably should point out that the reason you only put a primer seal on is to let it settle and find these spots.
That's quite right.
Yeah. And the signs, are they going back? There was a bench sign out here near the bridge, up from the bridge on the first turn.
The one that got knocked over in order, yes.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
That it from you, Councillor Moore?
Potholes are reappearing down the Mosquito Creek Road there. I see it. Yeah, at the slab and a few further on.
Jet patches doing
Nothing
around.
major, nothing major, but it's all right.
Yeah,
We know they're there. What are we doing about our toilets now in Morielda? Max, where, like I know, out of the business house.
Corinda House is open.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
said that at the community meeting.
Yeah, I know, yeah,
The other one's staying open too, that was talked about at the,
over here.
yeah,
Right.
talked about at the meeting, community meeting. She's turned about turning, leaving it open, and I think it will be expected to help with the water rates, whatever they happen about. But,
No, that's okay. Right, all good.
thank you.
That's it.
What do I have to report? Helen and I met with Barnaby Joyce a couple of days ago. He wanted to know what council's major concerns were, and I think we listed all I could think of anyway. But one interesting thing was that we had notification at the North Star meeting about the rural crime and the home invasion from rural properties. So I mentioned that to him, and he said, well, it's not just a state matter, that's also a federal matter. And he suggested that I contact, say 20 other mayors that are having problems right throughout the country and go and see the minister. We'll be down at a conference in June. And I'll put it to the meeting, and I hope I can get your sanction that we do that we instigate that.
I think that's a good idea.
He was saying, Alice Springs Dale and places like that, as well as Moree, us others. So I think I have asked for a suggestion list, but it hasn't come. But I think we might just try and put a few names together and then try and get an appointment. Go down there.
That's a good idea.
Okay.
I'll be apology too for that meeting next week for the Warriata Neighbourhood Watch.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll be away that weekend.
That's all right. And the other thing, I suppose, that need noting is Inland Rail. We had a meeting with them yesterday. Do you want to elaborate on that, Alex? What that said?
Yeah, certainly. So there was a inquiry into the entire project, and the findings from that were handed down perhaps a month ago. The most important of the recommendations was the recommendation that work south of Parks are prioritised and north of Parks land acquisitions and basically pre-construction works are carried out. In our meeting yesterday, they wouldn't commit to an answer with regards to what that means for what's left in our council, but there's a very strong inference that we're not going to see construction until 2027 or perhaps later. So in some regards, that's good because it gives us a little bit of a breather and it gets the construction traffic away from us while we're trying to get our network back to scratch. In other regards, it just means that an active line from Brisbane to Melbourne is a little bit further away.
But he indicated that the contractors, Lango Rock, will probably remain in place, which is interesting. But anyway, yeah, what it means is that Alex is going to get all these new bitumen roads built out there, and I'll be right ready for them to wear them out. But that was going to happen anyway. And you negotiate a pretty fair 7-11, isn't it, nowadays?
I'd like to see if I can negotiate an indexing of
I think
it.
I think it would be fair and reasonable.
I think it would be too.
Yeah. So anyway, that's the state of play. Whether you like it or not, we can't do much about it. I don't know the reason for it really, but.
There'd be a lack of funding, wouldn't it, probably?
Well, I think there's a hole in the budget they're trying to pause, but it's just going to be that much more expensive again when they recommence it. But anyway, that's it from me.
The committee meeting in the 8th of June will be in Morialta now.
Oh, that's should have reported that. Yeah, if that's okay with everybody. Helen, you had the reason. I can't.
The auditors are on site for from audit and need the Roxy,
That's right.
if that's okay with
So
everyone.
the committee meeting will be here, but the main meeting will be in
We'll
the
remember that, won't we?
And the July meeting, once again, will be
back here.
committee back here because there will be a naturalisation ceremony as
The
well.
July meetings are due to be in Morialta.
Yeah, anyway.
All right, well, with that, we might, before we go into confidential session break and have morning tea. A little bit before then. So that we have to go now into confidential session. Ask for a mover to affect that. Councillor Mulligan, seconded Councillor Moore. I'll put the motion as in favour, say aye. Aye. Carried. Now, we've got recording on.
Yep.
And I'll ask the general manager to read
The recommendations
recommendations.
out of the committee of the whole on the Namoi Regional Job Precinct Project. The recommendation is that the presenters of the Namoi Regional Job Precinct Project, Ms. Jocelyn Cobain and Ms. Elisa Wright, are thanked for their presentation. Confidential Organisation and Community Services report that the report be received. The living classroom land acquisition, that the council proceed with the compulsory acquisition of Lot 2 DP 1156411 and associated recommendations. In relation to the supply and delivery of road-based material, that the council adopt a list of recognised contractors to be invited to quote for the proposed supply and delivery of road-based material as a panel contract comprising the following companies subject to agreement of terms and conditions: Johnson Concrete and Quarries Proprietary Limited and Regional Quarries Australia Proprietary Limited. Further, the delegated authority is given to the general manager to conduct all relevant functions under the panel contract.
Now, I need a motion that we adopt those recommendations from the confidential meeting. And Councillor Galvin and Councillor Mulligan moved and seconded that way. There's no questions. I'll put the motion. Those in favour say aye. Aye. It's carried. Thank you. That concludes our meeting. And I thank you very much for your attendance. And